What if there was this one thing you can do in your business right now that can double, triple, or sometimes grow even more the value of the business? And this without spending extra money and without actually spending a lot of time on it. Well, there is. I'm Adriana Cowart, Mergers and Acquisitions Specialist and Business Strategist, and the President of Chishka Group Business Brokers. I sell and scale businesses for a living, and today I'm going to show you how to dramatically increase the value of your business before you decide to sell it. This is one of the many steps we take with our coaching clients in our Build to Sell program when we help them prepare their businesses for sale. Most people don't realize that over 85% of businesses on the market at any point never sell. They're never able to secure a buyer, and they simply shut their doors down when it's time to exit. The reason most businesses don't sell is because most business owners don't realize that when you build a business to produce income, you build it very different from the way you build a business with the purpose of selling it later. To make your business sellable, you need to take some additional steps in your business. And today we are going to discuss the most critical element of your business when it comes to selling your business. This element is so vital that when it is not set up right, it will actually prevent you from selling the business. And the element I'm talking about is not exciting at all, but necessary. Your income statement. As always, before we get started, hit the bell and subscribe to our channel so you get notified when new episodes become available here every Tuesday. During our Build to Sell coaching program, we tell our clients to pay attention to 3 elements of the income statement to make sure that the income statement is set up correct and in such a way that it continuously builds value for the business. Step number 1, report all your income on the income statement. The amount of revenue you produce and the way your revenue is reported is a decisive factor when it comes to how much you can ask for the business and, most importantly, if you can sell the business. To help you understand how this works, I will give you an example from one of our clients. To maintain confidentiality for my client, I will give him a fake name. So I will call him John. So John came to us to sell his bar. He had to move out of state and he had to sell the bar fairly quickly. John was the owner of one of the most famous bars in New Orleans. The bar has been doing very well for a very long time, and John expected that it would be a very easy sell, and so did we. So we did an audit of the business and started asking questions and started looking at the financial statements. And we noticed some trends in John's business. The bar was producing very good revenue, and it was also producing very consistent revenue. The bar was very smartly managed, and it had all kinds of attractions in different times of the year and different times of the week that attracted very predictable crowds. So the revenue was consistent and a great amount of it. The problem, however, that we noticed was that most of the revenue was in cash, and everything that was done as a cash transaction was not reported on the income statement. In all these years of running the bar, John never maintained records of all these cash transactions. Well, John told us that his bar was bringing in about $2 million in revenue year after year, and he said that it has been pretty much consistent for the past 10-15 years. The problem we had is that when we look at the income statements, we could only see a range between $800,000 to $900,000 of revenue every year. So if you don't have a way to trace all the income that comes in, your business, the selling price of your business will be dramatically lower. According to the data that we verbally received from John, the value of that particular bar was $5.5 million. But according to the data we found on the income statements and all the financial documents that we look at, the bar was now valuated for more than $2 million, and that is a huge discrepancy. And the hard thing is that John knew the value of his bar. He understood it. He's been running this business for so many years that he didn't want to just give it away. So he asked us to stick to the price that he wanted. He wanted to sell it for $5 million. And we put it on market, but the reality is the buyers are not only educated these days but most of them have to fund these purchases through a bank, and the banks will absolutely not approve a loan for a higher value than what the business is actually worth. John was pretty insistent, so we tried to sell his business at that price because the bar did have a very good reputation, and we were thinking, you never know when somebody will just understand the true value and go for it. Well, we kept the bar for sale for over a year, and John actually hired a ton of brokers to co-broker together and try to find a buyer, and he was not able to find a buyer. So after having the business on the market for an entire year and having to postpone his move to another state, he went through our program, through our build to sell program, which that's what this program is for, to prepare your business, to set it up right. And now he is waiting for another couple of years to pass so he can show that he has consistent revenue at the true value of the business. And this takes us to step number 2, which is to include your personal expenses on the income statement the right way. To reduce the amount of taxes you owe at the end of the year, instead of not reporting all the income you make, ask your accountant to show you all the personal expenses you are allowed to count as business expenses and include them into your profit and loss statement each month when they occur. So to make it easier to understand the impact, I will give you an example from one of our clients. To maintain confidentiality for our client, I am going to give him a fake name. I am going to call him Scott. So Scott came to us few years ago asking us to sell his business. He has been in business for over 20 years. He has built a very good name for himself, a very good reputation, and he was making quite a bit of money with it. His business was in construction, and he was very well known in the area. So I asked Scott, why is he selling the business if the business is so successful and the reputation is so good? And he told me that few months before we met, he actually got in an accident that was so bad that he was in a coma for a few months. And when he got out of that, he decided to shift his priorities from running the business to spending time with his family. He was of retirement age already, and also his health wasn't in great shape now after the accident. So he had to let the business go. So we asked Scott about his numbers, about his total revenue and about his net profit. And he told us that he regularly makes about $3 million a year, and he has been doing that for the past at least 10 years, and that his profit every year is roughly about $500,000. And then we took those numbers together with the amount of the value of equipment and furniture that he had and all the other things that we can monetize, and we valuated the business at $1.8 million. So after we did that, we actually started doing an in-depth audit of the business. So we asked the accountant to give us all the financial information straight from her office. And when we look in it, we noticed that Scott was reporting all the income that came in, which was great. But the net profit on the income statement was never more than $40,000 a year. And that happened year after year for the past 6-7 years that we looked at. So we called Scott and asked him what happened. So he told us that what he did is any personal expense that he could expense, he would tell his accountant to take it out of the expenses, out of the business expenses, and just put it as part of the business expense. So I told him that's fine, but how do I know which expenses are business expenses and which ones are your personal? And he couldn't tell. He put a lot of his personal expenses in the cost of labor, for example. He also put some of them in the cost of materials. He put some of them in the marketing expenses. He didn't classify them as their own, and he didn't actually ask his accountant what is allowed. He just put pretty much every personal expense he had other than his food, put it somehow in the business and discount it at the end of the year so he doesn't pay taxes, which, again, a lot of business owners put their personal expenses through their business expenses, but the problem here was that we could not identify what was what. We could not go through the statement and very clearly say, okay, insurance expenses are Scott's expenses, life insurance, car insurance, health insurance, and you can see clear what they are, you can see their values, and you can separate them, deduct them from the total expenses. If you are able to go through the income statement and very clearly know where your personal expenses are and what are the amounts, whenever you're ready to sell the business, you can separate that and see what is the true business expense. Because at the end of the day, all those personal expenses that you can put through the income statement are actually owner benefit, and they are part of the actual profit that the business makes. And if you can separate them, that will bring the value of the business back up where it needs to be. If you cannot separate them, it looks like your net profit is really low. So at the end of the day, after doing everything we could to help increase the value of Scott's business, the business ended up being valuated around $100,000. And we had it on market for a while, and we found a buyer that wanted to buy it, and the bank only approved $100,000 worth of investment on it. And that was very upsetting to Scott because he needed this money to be able to retire and go in the other state. So all these years of work in your business can not only provide you with income while you're in it, but can secure a very strong, good retirement for you if you do it wisely and make sure you do things right. Which brings us to the third step that you have to do when it comes to your income statement to make sure that there are no mistakes and you create a strong value for your business. A lot of business owners set up their books pretty much in the beginning when they start their business, and to save money or because they are not very well versed in this, they go to free software or really cheap software and they do it themselves. They try to figure out intuitively what goes everywhere. And that is better than not having any kind of bookkeeping system. But at the end of the day, if you sell your business and a bank is auditing your books, it is important that everything is done professionally. So my recommendation to my clients and to you is to find an accountant or an accountant or a CPA and ask them to set up your books for you. You will have to pay a one-time fee for them to set it up correctly with the correct sections for everything, and also to let you know which are the expenses, the personal expenses that are actually allowed to go there. And at the end of the day, you may actually be surprised at a lot of expenses that you may not expect at all and you didn't know you can include them. And obviously there will be some that you have been including probably that you shouldn't. Allowing an accountant or a CPA to do this for you will give you a very strong peace of mind that everything is done right, and if you have to sell your business for whatever reasons, you can. Because most of the clients that come to us to sell their businesses do not come because they are ready to retire or because they're burned out or bored with their business. They usually come because something dramatic happened in their family or in their lives, and they are no longer able to run the business. So there is no guarantee that you are going to be able to manage this business as long as you want to. It is always wise to have everything set up right from the beginning so you're not caught by surprise in an unpleasant situation. As I mentioned before, most businesses on the market do not sell, simply because they are not built to be sellable. If you'd like to sell yours now or in the next year or so, give yourself a shot at selling your business easy and for a great amount of money by preparing it the right way. If you're unsure how to do that, let us help. We are mergers and acquisition experts and have been doing this for hundreds of clients for over 6 years through our Build to Sell program. As I mentioned before, this is a 4-week program that takes all the guesswork out for you and guides you step by step on how to make your business sellable and very appealing to potential buyers. It also often dramatically increases the market value of your business and helps you get the highest possible price for it. The cost of not preparing your business before selling it, it is often the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you could be making if you could sell it. To find out more information about our program or to enroll, click on the link beneath. That most business owners that I work with, it never crossed their mind that they should have paid attention to this in their business before they came to sell. So I hope that this will help you set up a better system for your business. And if you subscribe to my channel, you will weekly get a video just like this that will give you tips and tricks and trade secrets on what we do to help our clients build a business that has a very strong, high value, very strong appeal, and that one day can be sold easily and for a lot of money.